tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a wrap.
All-time greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was visibly impressed after witnessing Terence Crawford's intense training for the upcoming Canelo fight. Having shared the ring with Crawford, Spence acknowledged his elite skills and remarkable ring IQ. Watching the recent training footage, Spence was stunned by Crawford's speed, precision, and footwork, calling him a monster in motion. Sharp, explosive, and laser-focused, this version of Crawford is a serious threat, one Canelo cannot afford to underestimate. Reflecting on his bout with Errol Spence, Terence Crawford spoke with clear mutual respect between the two champions. Known for his cerebral and patient approach, Crawford emphasized how he systematically breaks down opponents, setting traps before unleashing devastating combinations to close the show.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
Well, he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. Then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You already see him, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything start weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former world champion and boxing analyst Chris Algieri offered a sharp comparison between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Algieri noted that while Crawford has maintained complete control in nearly all of his fights, Canelo has had moments where he appeared overwhelmed, what insiders refer to as being bossed. A key example was his loss to Dimitri Bivol, where Bivol's size, jab, and discipline dictated the fight. Algieri's analysis supports the idea that Crawford's adaptability, control, and technical mastery could pose major problems for Canelo even with the weight difference.
And Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that, but I'll tell you this.
Well, contrast and compare, maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you talk about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that is just psychologically when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this. But stylistic, even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object get ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Ridley's Joe Saunders situation. When when he gets that in his head that, you know, he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman provided a balanced analysis, acknowledging the strengths of both fighters. However, he leaned slightly in Crawford's favor based on recent performances and overall skill set. Kellerman highlighted Crawford's exceptional timing, switch-hitting versatility, and knockout power, which have all peaked in recent years. While Canelo remains elite, Kellerman noted signs of slowing down, particularly in movement and sustained aggression. Although Canelo's size advantage could play a role in clinches and exchanges, Kellerman ultimately viewed Crawford as the more complete and currently sharper fighter.
Counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has.
You have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
The dynamics of this super fight are truly compelling. Crawford is entering unfamiliar territory by moving up in weight, a challenge that typically affects speed and endurance. Meanwhile, Canelo, though seasoned at this level, no longer exhibits the same explosive power he once did. Recent performances show him favoring control over aggression and struggling to score knockouts. This shift creates a more level playing field. If Crawford can bring his signature attributes, sharp footwork, high fight IQ, and superior stamina, he has a legitimate path to victory.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part of fight.
Rising boxing star Abdullah Mason expressed strong confidence in Terence Crawford, boldly predicting not just a win but a shocking upset for many viewers. He emphasized that Crawford's power is often underrated, and that his ability to generate force through timing, angles, and precision could surprise even the most seasoned fans. While much of the conversation has focused on Canelo's size advantage, Mason flipped that narrative, suggesting that Crawford's explosive accuracy, especially in the later rounds, could turn the tide.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford can take it. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter that night.
Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo one of his few recent defeats, offered high praise for Terence Crawford. Having observed Crawford up close, Bivol noted that he's bulked up impressively and possesses the technical tools to win. Coming from someone who's already beaten Canelo, Bivol's endorsement carries weight. He pointed to Crawford's discipline, speed, and intelligence as key assets, reinforcing the idea that this fight is far more evenly matched than many assume.
In Dubai maybe a month ago, I thought he's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but, there is a lot of things, small things which we don't know how he will deal with this. He needs to get used to the power and pressure of 168, because it's different, big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jamal Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't look at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously
Keith Thurman brought a technical lens to the discussion. While he acknowledged that casual fans might see the fight as balanced, he highlighted deeper imbalances that favor Crawford. Referencing Canelo's bout with Jermall Charlo, Thurman explained how Canelo struggled once Charlo used smart footwork and ring movement. Despite being the aggressor, Canelo couldn't cut the ring effectively or land clean shots. Thurman argued that Crawford, who was even more strategic than Charlo, could exploit those same weaknesses to even greater effect.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other. Your eyes? It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan, alongside comedian and boxing enthusiast Mike Vecchione, praised Crawford as one of the most dangerous athletes in the sport today. Rogan highlighted Crawford's elite skill set, work ethic, and mentality, noting that the Canelo bout is not only a major challenge but also a legacy-defining opportunity. Crawford himself spoke candidly about the matchup, acknowledging the size disparity and anticipating Canelo's pressure tactics. Still, he remained calm and confident, saying he's ready for everything. His composed mindset, rooted in both humility and belief, is what makes him such a formidable and intelligent fighter.
Feeling good, you know, work has been going great.
And, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, definitely don't matter. You know, the odds can't fight for him, so, you know, it is what it is.
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White also voiced support for Crawford, choosing him as his pick to win. His reasoning was straightforward: Crawford has been in this kind of situation before. Even when facing larger opponents, he's consistently found ways to neutralize their advantages through strategy and precision. According to White, this isn't unfamiliar ground for Crawford, it's just a bigger stage with a bigger name. He expects Crawford to remain composed and execute his game plan with his usual mix of patience and calculated aggression.
So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You make money.
Okay.
Put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to be?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who is amazing. Canelo has just, he's, oh my God, like he evolved. I saw from, how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
Canelo is naturally heavy.
Yeah, Crawford ain't gonna knock him out.
Huh.
But I don't know if Canelo's gonna land very solidly on Crawford.
Calvin Ford, renowned trainer of Gervonta Davis, commended Crawford for accepting such a massive challenge. Ford highlighted that it takes a different kind of mental and spiritual strength to step into a fight where the odds are stacked against you. For Ford, this fearless pursuit of greatness is what sets Crawford apart. He believes Crawford's willingness to face giants, literally and metaphorically, is a testament to his legacy-first mindset.
Be the best example for him. Last question for you. Go for Canelo, who leads?
Man, both of them guys are great. I respect Canelo. I respect Crawford to jump in and take a big fight like that, and that's what makes great fights, to see the big fights and wondering which side gonna win. But like I said, they say Canelo's the GOAT. I remember when Canelo fought Floyd, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like you're getting another chance at seeing Crawford fight Canelo.
Veteran trainer Robert Garcia offered a candid take on Canelo's current fighting style. He observed that Canelo has shifted away from seeking knockouts and now leans into a more measured, strategic approach, focusing on winning rounds, conserving energy, and reducing damage. Garcia attributed this evolution to age and a long-term view of his career. While Canelo remains dangerous, this more conservative style could work to Crawford's advantage, especially if he's able to control the pace and outmaneuver Canelo over the stretch.
Look, it's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, in not in age, because he's only like 33 or 34. But he's
fighting since 15.
15, a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more expert insights, breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes coverage of this epic showdown.